Is it true, Louis, that in the etheric realm you are able to see all there is to know about anyone you wish? And if so, do you choose to live in the Maya to help better facilitate your teachings and refinements? Would it be beneficial to students to understand that all of their words, thoughts, and deeds are easily read? Okay, too funny. All right, I'll break them down. First one. Is it true that I can see all there is to know about anyone that I want, whom I wish to see? I suppose you could say yes and no. I mean, ideally, theoretically, I suppose that's true. I don't operate that way. And I have a special arrangement I've made that I made way back in the beginning of my training. I made a pact with God, and I said, as I saw my cities developing, my divine powers coming into me and being refined through my training, it was very daunting to me to see not only what could happen to me, how it could easily destroy me, but I also saw how many people are destroyed by the very powers they seek, not only in spirituality, but in the world. Money, fame, business, socioeconomic status, how it destroys perhaps even more people than it serves. And I didn't want that to happen to myself. So I made a pact with God, and I said, I only want this role in this position if you will agree to put me on an as need to know basis. I said, I never want to be able to use these powers to hurt anyone or for my own personal gain. And so that's why I said theoretically, yeah, I suppose it's true, but I don't ask and I don't look and I don't peek in at people. And like I said, that's rape. To have the ability to read someone's mind or look into someone, which I do have, that is one of my cities, I would never do that because that's just like raping someone, and I don't rape people either. So why would I rape someone's aura if I wouldn't rape someone's body? It's just rape is rape. I don't do that when uninvited because I can doesn't mean that I do. So no, it's inconceivable to me. It's inconceivable. I only see what the other person's soul and God want and need me to see so that I can better serve and help that individual. And beyond that, there are so many levels of discernment and supplication and asking as to what I do with that information. It's just a constant peeling of the onion layers of supplication and discernment, which I've talked about extensively before. Because you see something doesn't mean you're obligated to go do something. And then when you are being asked by the divine to do something with that information, there are many different levels of that and applications of that. And that's where discernment and detachment and being seasoned and properly trained to know how to use the gifts God gives you come in, which sadly almost no one does. Most people are in the take the money and run consciousness. They have awakenings, they discover abilities, and they go off, hang a shingle, and start using them. And they never come back to the source and say, okay, what do I do with this? Or find a mentor, a master, a shaman who can train you how to use them properly. And I think at least I had the foresight and the common sense to say, I don't want the burden of this. I would rather be shown how to use it and when and where and why, and to put some safeguards in that would protect me, even more so than protecting others. So, bottom line, do I see everything there is to know about anyone I wish? When all is said and done, no, I don't. I don't at all. And I'm very happy about that. That's way too much baggage to carry. Oh my gosh. I'd have to jump off a bridge if I did that. If so, do I live in the Maya to help better facilitate my teachings and refinements? I would say that's true to a degree, because the hallmark of my teachings is that, I entered creation and went into the depths of separation like everyone else, and then uplifted myself and liberated myself using the same tools I teach. Therefore, no one can ever point a finger at me and say, oh, how easy for you, you just arrived in a golden chariot, you materialized in a Bodhi tree, and you've never suffered, you've never lived. It's easy for you to preach to us about detachment and surrender when you just drifted down from the sky. So nobody can do that. I've lived every single human experience known to man, you name it. Crime, prison, drugs, addiction, death, heartbreak, loss, abuse, rape, kidnapping. I was kidnapped when I was a child and tortured by a street gang. I was raped twice in my 20s. I had my son commit suicide. My family broke apart. Wife left me. I've lived it all. I've been addicted. I've had drugs. I've been arrested, been in jail, have college degrees. I've taught, I've trained, I've traveled. So no one can point a finger at me and call me a hypocrite. No one. And so then I can sit there and say, well, if I can lift myself up and purify myself, then what about you? You have no excuses. No one can come before me, no one on the planet with any excuse for not becoming and being the fullness of their divine potential, not a one. So that's why I chose my avataric embodiment to look the way it did, because I didn't want that to be used, because I make my teachings and my principles and practices so earthy, so grounded, so easy that anyone can do it regardless of intelligence, education, finance, economics, position, culture, race, creed. It transcends all of that. You don't need to have a religious background. You don't need to speak Sanskrit. You don't need to be trained in philosophy. Anybody who comes to me from any planet in the world can liberate themselves like that using the tools that I give, which I myself used to liberate myself. So I've actually made a very, very simple plan and formula. So yeah, the answer to that question is yes. That is exactly why I choose to live in the world like that.